Number 10. The Church of Satan doesn't worship Satan. Popular images of the Church of Satan frequently depict ethically questionable people who perform dark rites, sacrifice animals, drink the blood of small children, or something else to that effect. According to the Church of Satan itself, though, worshiping Satan isn't what they're about at all. Their mission statement stresses that they don't believe in a literal Satan. Instead, Satan is used as a metaphor to represent their belief in the power of fantasy, which they say they share with many other religions. Satanists view Satan as an opposition to the fiction and the fantasy of the presence of an otherworldly, divine figure like Christ. Rather than worshiping someone they consider just another fictional character, Satanists do the opposite by putting their faith in the worldly and tangible. The use of Satan is simply a symbol for their devotion to earthly things and their belief that they should revere other people at the same level usually reserved for the deities of other religions. Number 9. The number of the beast isn't 666. Frequently featured in heavy metal posters and bad tattoos, the number 666 has been long identified as the number of the beast. It's cited from the book of Revelation, in which John associates the number with the Antichrist, but the details of the story aren't entirely clear. Archaeologists have stacks and stacks of nearly indecipherable manuscripts from historic dump sites in Egypt that date to the 3rd or 4th century. Researchers have been able to translate more of the writing by utilizing recent improvements in photographic imaging techniques. On one piece of parchment, the number assigned by the proverbial beast is 616, not 666. According to Oxford's Center for the Study of Ancient Documents, deciphering the number of the beast all comes down to numerology. In the time this parchment was made, writing could be a dangerous act, especially for those who express their opposition to the controlling power by drawing comparisons to the devil. For this reason, numerology was used to give people the option to assign numbers and leave out names. In order to decode the numbers, we need to know a little about both the writing system and how people thought. Number 8. Lucifer isn't another name for Satan. Anyone who's been to Sunday school knows the story. Satan was originally an angel named Lucifer, who turned on God and was cast down from heaven. The thing is, that story is nowhere in the Bible. The one time Lucifer is mentioned is from a relatively new translation, and it's also misinterpretation. The only occurrence of the name of Lucifer in the Bible is Isaiah 14:12. In this verse, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" Seems pretty straightforward, but it turns out that it's another case of misinterpretation and mistranslation. If you go back to the original Hebrew text, you'll find a story not about a fallen angel, but about a Babylonian king, who figuratively fell from his throne when he began persecuting the Israelites. By the time the book was translated by Christian writers, the king became an angel. The name Lucifer comes in when the king's name, Halal, gets translated. Halal means day star or son of the dawn. The Romans found a word close in meaning. Lucifer is the Roman name for the planet we call Venus, which is often the first visible celestial body to appear near dawn. The name didn't have anything to do with the appearance of a Satan-like figure until much later, when its imagery was cemented with the 4th century translation of the text by Jerome. Number 7. The satanic pentagram is actually pretty new. Similarly to the perversion of the swastika's symbolism from good fortune to the Third Reich, the pentagram has undergone a surprisingly recent transformation. Today, the upside-down pentagram is often decorated with the goat's head of the devil, but its original meaning and connotations were polar opposites of Satanism. Early references to the design attribute the 5 points of the star to the 5 wounds Christ suffered as he was crucified. It's often still used in this way in Mormon art and architecture. It was only with the founding of the Church of Satan that the pentagram was used to represent a goat's horns, ears, and beard. Church historians have traced the goat's head pentagram back to an image in an 1897 book called La Clef de la Magla Noire, written by Stanislas de Guaita, a French occultist and proponent of the distinction between occultism and devil worship. Not long before that, another French occultist wrote about the evil connotations between the pentagram and a goat-headed figure. By 1924, the goat's head had crept into the pentagram, and the image was labeled the pentagram expressive of subversion in a text called Science Occult et Mage Pratique. The Church of Satan's adoption of the image further tied its meaning to the devil. Number 6. The goat-head Satan is also pretty new. If one were to search the Bible for descriptions of Satan with a goat's head, one might turn up a few mentions of the forbidden worship of goat idols and the demons in Leviticus 17:7, and by some calf idols in Exodus. So where does the goat-headed man come from? The symbol of Satan as a half-goat creature is known as Baphomet, and the link between the goat-headed demon and Satan only happened when people started throwing stones at the Freemasons. The story says that when the Pope turned his attention to the Knights Templar and issued arrest warrants for those he knew to be members of the organization, he cited the worship of a demon called Baphomet as one of the foremost pieces of evidence against them. The name hadn't been assigned to the image yet, though, and the trial records show that of the 231 knights who were interrogated by the Pope's agents, only 12 admitted under torture that they had a passing familiarity with the image of the unnamed demonic goat. Number 5. Christians didn't get Satan from Pan. There seems to be an obvious connection to be drawn between Pan, the goat-legged satyr, and the habit early Christians had of adopting others' deities and then assigning them less than favorable roles. This leads us to another misconception about Satan. The devil was not originally associated with Pan, but Christ was. Pan, the god of Hermes, was only one of a handful of figures in the pastoral pantheon in Greece. They were worshipped by farmers and shepherds, many of whom would pray to Pan to watch over their flocks, and he was often called on to protect sheep from vicious wolf attacks. Sounds familiar? Christianity's patron saint of shepherds, Saint Bartholomew, often shares an island shrine with him. According to one rarely repeated part of the story about the birth of Christ, when the Christian's good shepherd was born, the voice was heard by a shipmaster named Thamus, instructing him to recite Magnus Pan Mortis Est, the great Pan is dead, when spreading the word of the birth of Christ. Why did the image of Pan switch sides? The church might have approved of Pan's image as a shepherd, but they certainly didn't approve of his role as a fertility god, which, while the parallels between Pan and Christ survived as long as the Milton's Paradise Lost, the church soon decided that the lusty satyr was more in line with the sexual morals of the devil than of Christ. Number 4. The upside-down cross is a respectful symbol. One of the most prevalent assumptions, especially in the movies like The Omen and in the death metal world, is that the upside-down cross is one of Satan's symbols. This assumption is based on the idea that it's a reversal of Christ's ultimate sacrifice, but that's only half true. The upside-down cross is traditionally viewed as not only a Christian symbol, but as one of humility. As the story goes, it's a story that can be traced back to some of the earliest Christian writings of men like Saint Clement of Rome, Saint Ignatius of Antioch, and Eusebius of Caesarea. Saint Peter was crucified in Rome by the order of Emperor Nero, who was making a stand against the then burgeoning religion of Christianity. Not wanting to dishonor the supreme sacrifice that Christ had already made, Peter requested that he be crucified upside down. The upside-down cross then became a symbol of humility, worn by those who, in the same spirit of Peter, wished to pay respect to the sacrifice made by Christ. Number 3. His demons aren't that bad. According to the Lesser Key of King Solomon, an anonymously written grimoire, the story states that King Solomon was one of the most wise of all kings and could speak with man, beast, and demon and angel alike. Solomon's temple was built only with the assistance of demons, particularly one named Asmodeus. While Solomon's demons had a handful of the traditional characteristics we associate with them, tendencies to trick, lie, and manipulate, they're not the mindless, mind-controlled troublemakers we usually think of now. They definitely weren't little red fork-tailed monsters. As far back as the 16th century, writers were compiling lists of demons and how to summon and control them. Precisely when the Lesser Key of King Solomon was first organized is unknown, although parts of it echo through earlier works. The book is said to contain all the information you need to summon 72 demons, the same demons that Solomon used to build his temple. While we might usually think of demons being summoned into the world as quite literally unleashing hell, they're not that one-dimensional. The 10th demon, Bjor, teaches his summoners the healing properties of plants and herbs, gives good familiars, and can heal distempers. Eligos, the 15th demon spirit, appears as a knight and can see the future and reveal secrets. Nabarius can give the gift of rhetoric and restore lost position and honors. See, they're not so bad. Number 2. Satan is not destined to rule in hell. Call him the Prince of Hell or the Prince of Darkness, and the job is clear. When it comes to the place where Satan's going to spend eternity, it's clearly hell, right? According to Paul in Hebrews 2:14, Christ will destroy Satan. That doesn't mean killing him, though. The word used is katargio, which means defeating or putting someone away. Hell isn't the domain of Satan, it's his prison, where the Bible says he'll be tortured just like all the others who have turned away from God. Revelation 20:10 also supports this interpretation. According to this verse, Satan's destiny has already been decided, and it's being cast into hell's lake of fire. This blurs into another misconception about Satan's role in hell. According to popular belief, it's Satan that barters for souls and banishes them to hell for eternal punishment. In this same part of Revelation and in Matthew 25:46, it's also said that because of the bestowing of free will on mankind, it's not Satan that steals souls and turning them evil. Evil is a choice made by each person. It's also said that God will punish all those who turn to evil in the same way, including Satan himself. Number 1. Satan doesn't live in hell, he lives in Turkey. One of the most universally accepted facts about Satan, that he rules over all the demons of hell, is also one of the most incorrect. According to the Bible, Satan doesn't rule in hell and doesn't live there either. He lives on earth, walking among us, and tempting us to commit sins and turn to his side. The book of Revelation goes a step further and names the ancient Turkish city of Pergamon as the throne of Satan. Specifically, it's thought that it was his literal throne, with the temple once known as the Great Altar of Zeus, repurposed as the devil's throne. The prophet John says to the angel of the church of Pergamum, "Write, I know your works and where you dwell, where Satan's throne is, and you hold fast to my name, and did not deny my faith even in the days in which Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was killed among you, where Satan dwells." In the context of the time, a throne is much more than just a chair, it's a home. John's words to the people of Pergamum were an expression of gratitude for their faith, while one of their own suffered one of the many horrible deaths inflicted upon the martyrs. Pergamum was a home to Asclepion, one of the most successful hospitals of the day, built in honor of the healing god. Those who were ill would take a sleeping potion and spend the night surrounded by snakes said to bring them dreams from Asclepios. Once the dreams were interpreted by their doctors, they could be cured. Once Christianity came to the city, the priests were doing the interpreting, pleading with the city officials to run the Christians out of town. They were interfering with the spirits in the presence of their gods. One of the most vocal, a man named Antipas, was instructed to forsake his Christian ways and swear allegiance to Rome. He refused and was burned alive in the brass bowl on the top of the altar of Zeus. But that's absolutely not the end of the story. In the mid-19th century, a German engineer named Karl Humann visited the ruined city. He petitioned the respective governments to excavate the city and remove and take what artifacts he could back to Germany. The Pergamon Museum opened in 1930. Its center attraction was the reassembled Great Altar of Zeus. Several years later, Albert Speer would look to the altar for inspiration to create an eerie parallel. Adolf Hitler wanted him to design parade grounds, and Speer took the altar and recreated it on a massive scale. He replaced the bronze bowl in which Antipas had been martyred with Hitler's podium, where he would stand to announce the Nuremberg laws. That's been our Darkside Twisted List for this week. I really hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day.